Hello there, YouTube, and welcome to another cat stream. And today, sorry for you Americans, I know some of you actually enjoy the talking of it though, but it is mainly going to be a my Brexit dream today because fuck, the Guardian has just decided to do fucking tons of shit all over it. But we'll get into that very, very soon. I have my two normal co-hosts with me today. So we have Magic Bollocks.
Hello.
And we have the illustrious Ogre with us.
Too kind. Hello.
So, yes, how's everybody actually fucking doing today?
And I'm doing great. But I tell you what, I think that the Brexit ties in a lot more here in the States than a lot of people want to face. It happened right around the same time as Donald Trump was elected president, right before. Nigel Farage was here on the stump for the Trump. And boy, that was something. When they stood up there and shook hands, two of the greatest men in my mind that are today, that are alive. And but to make a long point shorter, I mean, what we're seeing here is a bunch of people that cannot take the outcome. They said that there'd be race riots when Obama was elected. Never happened. Everybody accepted him. Fine president. That's probably a debate, but he wasn't terrible. That's not a debate. He wasn't terrible. We've had some terrible ones. Jimmy Carter. Anyway, as I said, I'll try to make this short. What we see is people that can't. Bollocks. I asked Bollocks today because Mrs. Ogre was asking me this. I was like, I don't bloody know. And what was the question there, Bollocks? Why is it that it seems like people on the other side can't take a joke? How is it that like folks like us, sometimes we all have our trigger? I know I do. I'm not going to mention what it is. It just happened recently. I don't know. I don't think I got triggered out, but I was less than happy about it. But even those things you carry on. And what's the answer? Why is it that we can take a joke and the other side can't? And Bollocks.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were putting that to me.
No, go ahead. You answer. You're the one that answer. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's more a theory on my part than anything else. Is that I've never met anybody, and it's going to sound a bit contradictory, but you don't meet miserable people who tend to have fantastic sense of humors. And I've always attributed humor in people is people who are actually happy with themselves and their lot and with the people around them, which is why they're able to laugh at the world and especially laugh at themselves. Whereas the left seems to, especially these days, attract self-haters and miserable fucks who just basically want to tear the world down because they don't feel it's treating them right. If you mock them either with humor or facts, they fall to bits, which is the whole reason they don't like humor, which is the reason why they want to censor everything, is because they've got nothing to retaliate with. So you tend to find those sort of people pretty deprived of humor, plus in the fact they back themselves into a corner with political correctness, which is virtually everything's off limits now to mock and laugh at, whereas those of us in the middle or maybe with slightly more of a right leaning, we have plenty to laugh at these days. When I do, or the last two talking bollocks I've done, I've constantly mocked things such as gender identity because it's so easy to take the piss out of, because it's so ridiculous. The whole notion that there's more than two genders, it's so easy to laugh at and poke fun of because it's so ridiculous. And that's why we can laugh and we have a sense of humor, and why those freaks don't.
Yeah. And well, there's the tie-in that it's happening in both our countries, be it the stopping of the Brexit because some faggots are bitter and can't take a joke or can't take the outcome of an election, or basically can't take anything that makes them question their own self and their own ideas. And that's what we see going on over there in that common sense. I mean, basically they're going to say, oh, we got to have another referendum. Do you think if it passed, anyone would be talking about having another vote to see if you could do a Brexit? You think if the Remainers would have, Ramoners, as we like to call them, do you think if they would have won, do you think there'd be any talk about another vote?
No, of course there wouldn't be. I mean, we'll get into the story very, very soon, but one of the actual titles or subtitles, should I actually say, of the story that we go into is 48% their voices count too. Would it be it's okay to leave in just name in brackets? That's their argument for leaving Brexit. Is it okay to leave in just name? Right? They think that people are fucking stupid. It's like, oh, we've left. No, we haven't. You even say that we haven't. Why would you even go down that road just to give a false platitude to people? It doesn't work that way. Stop giving fucking people false fucking grandizement. Just fucking tell them the fucking truth.
Absolutely.
Well, if that Guardian journalist really wants to be fair to the 48%, nothing's stopping them emigrating to France, is it?
That's very, very, very true. It's very true. But the thing is, I don't think it's 48% anymore that's even on their side. I think that it's galvanized into a hardcore movement, and that hardcore movement is now just a rich elite, or at least elitists. And it just fucking destroys their argument when most of the people that are now fucking against leaving Europe are all businessmen, are all MPs, are all people that are to do with financial market.
Yes.
Surely that in itself says, well, maybe they might be a little bit elitist and, you know, trying to prove a point that they don't want to leave because they get more money from Europe.
It should be some kind of red flag, you would think, for sure.
And especially this week, it's particularly hereditary peers, isn't it?
Yes, indeed it is.
And I think I already asked you two, but man, there's this big stink. And I mean, what about the House of Lords? What do you think? Should they be there? Should they not be there? Should this ancient institution be dissolved? And if so, why? If not, why?
Well, I answered this on Wednesday, so I'm going to pass straight over.
Yeah, I know you, because I've asked a lot of people. So what? Just briefly, just say, what do you think? They should be gone. They should stay. I thought you said they should stay or be gone. I mean, but I can't remember.
There is a petition at the moment, isn't there, that's reached about 50,000 signatures to have it abolished. And of course, if it hits 100,000, then the government will have to debate it in Parliament, which I think is probably just going to be dismissed, as it always is. But I think a lot of people are quite angry about that. The idea that this, you know, house of unelected cronies, I suppose, who a very high percentage of them have got skin in the game. They get funding or they get some sort of money, shall we say, from Europe in one way or another. I mean, Lord Heseltine is a fine example, a man who's not only a millionaire already, but owns many, many acres of land, and he is paid by the EU Commission not to farm it. And he doesn't want to have these payments stopped. So he's very much got a massive vested interest in keeping us inside the European Union, as is many, many others in some form or another. The EU is has been very good at paying for allies, shall we say. People who are very good at taking money from them to promote them, or for charitable donations and various other business.
I would say successful governments are good at that, though. Really,
yes. But it is really, really fun to watch, because you are seeing a government and an establishment proving once and for all something that people like us has suspected for quite some time, which is they don't give a shit about democracy and what the ordinary people want. They want to do what they want to do, and they're trying to do it in a we're not disrespecting democracy way. And I think it is going to blow up pretty badly in their face in the next 12 months if any attempt is made, or they deliberately sabotage it and it's blatantly obvious they've done it. There's going to be trouble.
Yeah,
we'll see.
No, I kind of I completely agree. Well, not completely. I kind of agree with Magic Bollocks on that. I do feel that the idea of Lords in itself is just not needed anymore. The point that I used on Wednesday was the fact of, if you're going to have elected lords or elected peers, and I know it's a peerage and not peers as in the trial of your peers, we went through that on Wednesday, but we can have elected peerage for the point of, if we have doctor problems or NHS problems, we can put doctors in for that peerage for that bill. If we have builders and construction, we can put builders and construction people in for that point. We can do it that way, so we have a peerage of the people that actually know what the fuck they're talking about.
As opposed to party donors and, say, ex-leaders of militant leftist groups who say there's no anti-Semitism in the Labour Party.
Yeah. Then absolutely talk about it. And then in the Houses of Parliament, and then Jeremy Corbyn, the leader of the the Labour Party, actually comes out and says, "Oh, really well done, everybody that told their stories of anti-Semitism." It's like, did you not fucking listen, Jeremy Corbyn? They were telling everybody about fucking momentum and the fact that they were being fucking victimized by your fucking backers.
There is no such thing as anti-Semitism. Racism doesn't exist. There's good, there's evil, there's right, there's wrong. There is no racism. Most of the time, like the ADLU, because we're talking about anti-Semitism. I mean, most of the time when you have the ADLU barking and yapping and yipping, it's a crock of shit. They're using race in order to further an agenda. And that goes for the ACLU, the ADL, the Southern Poverty Law Center. It goes for all of these race baiting, race criers. I just don't, there's no race. There's no racism. It's never existed. There's right and there's wrong. There's good and there's evil.
Did you know that the ADL have actually now put out a video saying they now want to ban the term globalism because apparently it has anti-Semitic roots?
Well, yeah, because most of not most, but a very inordinate percentage of the globalists are Jewish. Of course, we don't want that on the list of things that they call us, bollocks. I myself don't own a TV station, or this is the closest I can get to being a broadcast titan. Is here on the in church and this little stream we do. That's it. And so whatever. So what? I mean, eventually somebody's going to call you everything in the book. let it go.
It is a strange one to be offended with, isn't it? I mean, when you consider, global, it just means global is in the whole world, and you're a globalist of that. Well, and it's funny how they are really trying to crack down on certain words because they're entering popular lexicon. It means that more people than ever are obviously aware of the term, what it means, and what these people are really about, and they don't like that.
No, that's a fact. Well, I derailed the shit out of the beginning of this. Should I even bother to read this first one? We want to jump into this?
No, do it, Mr. Ogre.
I'd say read the first one, mate. I mean,
all right.
Do the shit to start off with, otherwise people don't know who we are.
Yes. So long live the Brexit. I'm sure we'll have more to say about that in a moment. This is from CNN Tech. Thanks for all the stories coming from Common Sense today, is almost always now a good handful of them here. This is an exclusive to CNN. YouTube ran ads from hundreds of brands on extremist channels. Extremist channels. I would almost think that we may be considered that. So this is important to me. Ads from over 300 companies and organizations, including tech giants, major retailers, newspapers, and government agencies, ran on YouTube channels promoting white nationalists, Nazis, pedophilia, conspiracy theories, and North Korean propaganda, a CNN investigation has found. Now, I might say, and when we talk about this, why I have a problem with some of these words, because did these people say they were these things, or did CNN or someone else say that they are these things? So companies such as, are you ready for this? Adidas, Amazon, Cisco, Facebook, Hershey, Hilton, LinkedIn, Mozilla, Netflix, Nordstrom's, and Under Armour may have unwillingly helped finance some of these channels via the advertisements they paid for on Google-owned YouTube. U.S. tax dollars may have gone to the channels too. Ads from 5 U.S. government agencies, such as the Department of Transportation and Centers for Disease Control, appeared on the channels. Many of the companies that responded to CNN said they were unaware their ads had been placed on these channels and were investigating how they ended up there. Fuller responses from these companies are collected at the bottom of this article. And this goes on and drones on and on. I think we get the gist of it. I want to say this for a kickoff, if I may, folks. What's wrong with people? Let's just assume now, just for the sake of devil's advocate, let's assume that one of these channels was flat out, let's combine the two since they're the most abhorrent things on here, Nazi pedophiles, okay? Do these Nazi pedophiles not deserve, do the people that watch this channel, did they not deserve to get public service announcements from the Department of Transportation and the CDC, the Center for Disease Control? And so that's where it gets really sketchy for me, is who deserves to get information, because some of these things are not just paid for ads, they also represent public service announcements.
Well, things like public service announcements, I think should be on every channel, whether you're monetized or not. It's a public service fucking announcement. As long as it affects enough people, that should be fucking on every channel. It shouldn't really matter. As for the fact of using the thought experiment of paedophile Nazis getting any sort of forms of money, if we're going to be sticking to our principles, so to speak, then we would have to say yes. Though we wouldn't agree with the premise of the Nazi pedophiles, we would have to agree that if we wanted to have the freedom of speech, then we would actually have to have them accept money as well. But there is a loophole. The people that actually choose to advertise on a channel should be able to choose to advertise on their channel or not.
Yes.
That's the difference, and that's the loophole. The advertisers shouldn't be forced to advertise on every channel. It should be a case of the advertisers should choose what channels they are advertising on, not just blanketly going on every channel. In my opinion,
they could solve the problem by just making it an ad-free platform and taking all that. I mean, Google don't need the extra money.
No, but we do.
Well, but in that case, so you can do what you're talking about. In other words, an ad-free platform is in they don't push ads. But if you wanted to pull a Ben Shapiro and be like, hey, look at this stupid watch I'm wearing. Do you like this stupid watch I'm wearing? If you do, you go to this website and buy my stupid watch. Tell them Ben Shapiro sent you, get 10% off. I like my stupid watch. I got a stupid watch for me. I got a stupid watch for my wife. Got a stupid watch for my kids. You'll like a stupid watch too. Just go to www.stupidwatch.com. Tell them Ben sent you, you know what I mean? We can do that.
H3 do that all the time.
Right. And in that case, you actually make more money because they're coming to you directly. If you're not big enough to wear, because remember,
that's to do with sponsors. That's to do with sponsors, not necessarily advertising. Advertisement, as we know, is not a case of us advertising for them.
Well, you're looking at it as in a different. You're looking at it as advertising being blanket because it's the same thing. Common sense. We're looking at it in two different scales, two different methods of the same device.
Definitions. I'm going by the definitions. The sponsorship is people that have actually paid you to say buy my watch.
To advertise.
Advertisement is a case of it comes onto your channel due to monetization,
and some kind of sponsor pays for that advertisement.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's a sponsorship and not an advertisement.
Okay. All right. I don't know if it makes any difference in my mind right now. It just seems like we're talking about the same thing.
It should do. The reason why it should do is because to get a sponsorship, to advertise that sponsorship, the person actually has to have a conversation with you and accept you as your channel. So all the premise of them deciding whether or not to sponsor you has already been arranged and has already gone through the company, has already been decided if you're good enough, so to speak. So then that's why the sponsorship would work. The blanket advertisement is a case of people should really have the choice of being able to go on what channel that they want. It's just a blanket advertisement.
But
every now and again it changes.
But you don't think that if Facebook, all these names going around in my head, if YouTube decided to stop the blanket advertisement, you don't think that blocks of ad agencies, because that's what's happening now, they're just doing it through YouTube. You don't think that blocks of ad agencies would get together and have blocks of advertisers and say, hey, if you're a small channel, get a hold of us. We might want to run ads in the beginning of your channel. We'll pay you directly. That would be better for us because there would be no more YouTube middleman. I mean, do you see what I mean? I believe that if YouTube got out of it, the same thing would still happen. You'd have a link that would.
To be fair, YouTube technically do that now. If you go for yourself,
take a big cut.
Not for channels that are lower than 1,000.
They take a cut big enough to make a Jew blush, man. I can't believe how they rape us.
They do on the AdSense they do, and on the super chat they do. Yes, but
the only thing I see that's really fair is PayPal. I would encourage anybody, if you've ever thought about helping Common Sense, go ahead and get into a nice new flat. You can go ahead and go to his PayPal. You see what I mean? Like, you're my sponsor. Only thing you don't pay me. And use PayPal though, because it's pennies on the dollar.
Don't send fucking dollars though, because it takes fucking ages to actually fucking transfer.
Hang on, now it takes ages to transfer even if you do it through PayPal?
Yeah, because it's got to transfer, it's got to change over in PayPal. So
I'm sorry about that, mate. I actually changed it to dollars, not thinking that it would just be automatic when it went there. I had no idea.
That's all right, mate. It all comes through in the fucking wash.
Well, no, it makes sense now because you told me when you send it, don't send it in dollars. But I was planning, if you remember, I was planning on sending actual money through the Anyway,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
that's good. So everybody knows that now. When you get it, when you go get, it's about 30, 40 quid together right now and send it to its PayPal, make sure you put it in British pounds sterling. Don't put it in dollars, whatever the hell it says there. I don't know what it says for dollars. USD, I think.
Yeah, it's USD for US dollars.
Yeah, don't do that. Oh, anyway, back on track here, I guess. So I mean, I just don't see. This is the problem I have. All right. Sometimes you're running ads on an affiliate, on an ABC affiliate in Los Angeles, and some crazy guy in a hoodie and glasses comes running around the corner and says, "Fuck him right in the pussy," and then runs away. Well, what are you gonna do? I mean, does your company condone crazy people screaming that, while some lady's trying to talk in the camera and there's everybody listening at home? No. So what do? You pull your. So what I'm trying to say is, you have to take the bitter with the sweet. The problem with this is everybody nowadays, everybody says, if I can tie bollocks, if he ever said Nazi, ever said it, use the word, or I mean, who knows what else? At that point, I can be like, look at this. Magic Bollocks, the Ogre went to a Nazi rally in 1995, a skinhead rally. Of course, they don't know that our favorite death metal bands were playing at this damn thing that day, and it had nothing to do with any of their politics. See what I mean? Now suddenly you're labeled, and nobody wants. It's the problem of affiliation. I hope y'all are following what I'm saying. These people have no balls. Adidas, Amazon, Cisco. So what? For one thing, I'd want to go look and see who the people are that they're calling Nazis and white supremacists and every damn thing else. I'd want to decide for myself if it was really North Korean propaganda or conspiracy theories. Holy shit, boys. That covers every fucking thing I ever utter.
Yeah, we're fucked.
Yeah.
But I'd just like to quickly go back onto the sponsorship as I was getting onto before.
Oh, yes.
If you're over 1,000 subscribers, you don't need to the 4,000 things or anything else like that. If you're over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, you can go onto your creator bit on YouTube, and you can see the status of your channel, and it lets you know if you can live stream and what monetizations you got and or haven't got, and blah blah blah. In the bottom right hand corner, as you're looking on your screen, it says sponsorships. You can apply to have sponsorships from 1,000 subscribers onwards.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say that it's different from the advertisement. Memes is actually quite rightly said in the actual chat, which is basically what my argument was anyway. The fact that advertisement are going towards the people, as in the viewers, where the actual sponsors are paying you to highlight their product.
Okay, boys, but look, the way I look at it is every time you have an advertisement, there is a sponsor behind it. That was my only point. You can't have advertisements without sponsors unless they're public service announcements or something like that, because an advertisement is, by definition, someone trying to advert you. They're trying to get you to do an aversion to, get you to look at their product. And so you just don't have that without a sponsor. That's all I was saying. I have no idea. I didn't know that about that button either. But we need, in my mind, for YouTube to get the hell out of it. They shouldn't be giving me. I mean, if I should go look for my own sponsors can come find me. Why is there this arbitrary number? You should be able to do it from day one. You should be able to do it if you got 1 million or 1 or 10 or 15 and have super chat. I just don't get all this shit. And I think just like a big government, a big corporation should get out of our fucking playground and let us be boys. Once in a while, somebody in the process of, taking the kickball, somebody gets bitch slapped. But that's just the way it is.
Am I the only one who's thinking that this isn't really CNN just reporting the news as an attempt to convince these companies stop advertising on new media?
Oh, yeah. And also to take any kind of credence away, right?
Well, it's the old, you shouldn't be advertising on YouTube. It's full of, as they call it, white supremacist, racist, and all this other bullshit. And you should come and only advertise on a pure mainstream platform like ours, where we don't have any of that nonsense. But the reason why they're advertising on YouTube, because they obviously realize that people are seeing their ads. Well, those of us who haven't got ad blockers, but It's probably twofold, which is maybe the advertisers are just trying to find a convenient way to stop this amount of sponsorship they currently give YouTube because they're finding it's not as, you know, as good exposure for them as maybe they thought, and this will just give them the excuse to say, oh look, YouTube was sticking us all on all these, you know, dodgy videos. But like Common Sense was saying, is that just because your advert would be before a slightly controversial video doesn't mean you're endorsing it. It just happens to be that's just an advert that was there at the time.
And why isn't their money green? That's what this is why this is blown. Listen, it used to be that if you were advertising, you asked a couple basic questions. How many people are going to see this? What's their demographic? You know, what's 18 to 28, you know, what's the demographics? How many of them are there? Mm-hmm. And then you decide based on that. I mean, look, if I'm trying to sell Common Sense Guy soap, and I've got to sell these bars of soap. I've got 10,000 bars of soap. And I know that the people that like King's Harvest scent of Common Sense soap are all neo-Nazi pedophile. What else do we got here? White nationalists, conspiracy theorists that love North Korea. Okay, and that's what they are. I'm gonna try. I don't care. What I mean, I don't get me wrong. I don't really like them. These people. I don't. But I like their money. When did we lose that, boys? Because I could ramble on about this forever. I'm a Jew. We don't give a shit what Goya you are, what kind of Goya you are. You're all cattle. All we want is the green. You give us the green, we will give you a service. You don't like our service, we'll give you the green back. We don't have to do any more business. You like the service, you can even give us more green. We'll give you the service again. That's my point.
Well, if you're talking about YouTube doing an algorithm saying what audience is best for Common Sense soap.
Oh, they don't give a shit about that.
No, I was going to say it's quite simple for the algorithm. Yeah. Just don't put it on any channels with the French language.
I'd just like to quickly read an extract from in text. I think is quite interesting. I don't know who this Nicole Perrin is, but I just want to quickly read it as it's quoted as well. YouTube's bottom line hasn't been hit, said Nicole Perrin, a senior analyst at eMarketer, who covers advertising and marketing technology. If brands want to make sure this stops, the only way for that to happen is for them to stop spending on YouTube until it's fixed.
Bastards.
So as Magic Bollocks just said, that's the reason for the story.
Yeah, and that really pisses me off, man. I mean, because here we go again. I mean, I could just gonna reiterate damn everything I said. So why even do it? This is someone. Look, man, listen. I have been in New York City. My wife and I was wearing my work clothes. We moved furniture, so I had a shirt tucked in with my name and company on it. It actually said D-Man on one side was my name, and then the other side said United Van Lines. And I'd work pants on, but I was sharp and clean. I'm even gonna get into why I was dressed that way. Mrs. Ogre looked great. So was at this place in Soho, and there was a crab, I shit you not. It was 2.5 feet in diameter, a white crab in the window that was like a fish tank, just bubbling. That's some bitch. I don't know if it didn't weigh 20 pounds, it didn't weigh a pound. Big ass crab, right? And I'm looking at it. Now, let me not joke with you. I had $1,000 in my pocket. This was the year 2000. That wasn't a small amount of money. I don't think it is now. Mrs. Ogre, I don't know what she had in her purse. Well over 1,000. Probably over $6,000 in her purse. We were there to have fun. And so I looked at this Chinese guy, this little freaking Chinese guy, and I was like, hey, mister, you got a bathroom? Because I had to pee, but I was going to I was looking at that crab, boys. I was going to eat some of that fucking crab. I didn't care if it cost me $500. That I'm not shitting either. Mrs. Ogre knows me. I had it in my mind. I was going to eat that fucking crab that I saw in it. And so he looked at me and said, you no go bathroom here. You go now. And I was like, what? Whoa, man. I said, hang on. Now, listen, we just came from a place called the Village Idiot, right on 42nd and right downtown Greenwich Village. It's called, that should tell you something. It's right around the corner from Hampstead's. Anyway, he was like, you go now. Fuck, dude, I come uncunted on the little cocksucker. I pulled out money out of my pocket and was like, look at this, you little fucking stupid chick. Now, listen, mind you, when he was like, I call police now, I was fucking gone, okay? I put my attitude, I put my pride, and I put my money in my pocket, and I moseyed on down the road. I don't even remember where we ended up eating. And yes, I got to take a piss. I didn't have to piss on the street. But you know, what was that? Was it because this little yellow cocksucker don't like white people? Is that the first thing I should think of?
I wouldn't have thought so.
Well, we got 50-50 anyway. So we got people representing both ideas. You know, because I didn't look at it as racist. I just looked at the dumb little son of a bitch just lost the price of whatever it costs for somebody to get that live crab and eat it. I do remember where we ate, but it sounds really more braggadocious than that bullshit story I already did. Now, I'll tell you, we did end up eating at Hampstead's, the oldest steakhouse in New York City. Look it up. It's fucking the best filet mignon I ever ate in my life. So anyway. Well, yeah, this is all a crock of shit.
I was going to say that there's another little bit that I would like to read that's towards the middle of the story, which goes along as, when we find that ads mistakenly run against content that doesn't comply with our policies, we immediately remove the ads. We know that even when videos meet our advertiser-friendly guidelines, not all videos will be appropriate for all brands. But we are committed to working with our advertisers and getting this right, she added. However, the YouTube statement does not address why the issue keeps happening. I think the reason why I read both of that is because I think you can understand the reasons why it does keep happening. Because what they're talking about is subjective. If somebody's talking about immigration, you naturally then become a white nationalist in some people's eyes. If you're then talking about things like, well, did the Holocaust have 4 or 6 million people that died, as in Andy Warski's channel last night? You then become a Holocaust denier and a Nazi apologist or whatever. Straight away. So that's apparently what happens.
You know, well, I'm going to get into that. I was about ready to really derail it. I've heard arguments that it couldn't have been many more than 500,000, just because of the number of Jews in the area, and because where would they do with the bodies? Now, they did find a lot, but if you look at the pictures, and so I've heard both sides. But let's face it, man, that's so ridiculous, and it's so nowadays, mother effer. As soon as you don't agree with somebody, common sense, not only are they wrong, but they're evil.
Well, it's the same thing with this Syria narrative that we've all been talking about. People now that I was reading, I tweeted it out, sorry, a story that said that Russian bots are now being identified at over 3,000% compared to what they were over the Syria story, pushing conspiracy theories about trying to say that it didn't happen or it didn't happen this way. And as I said before, that means that people like V and Sargon then are Russian bots.
Me too, because I said it and I'll say it again. There was no gas attack from Assad. That's bullshit. Peace was very close. Assad had that town under control. That we are talking about Hezbollah, Mujahideen, ISIS, ISIL, but whatever you want to call them this week, Al-Qaeda, whatever you want to call them this week, those are the people we're talking about. Now, hey, if you're Muslim and you're Muzzy and you like to do whatever it is you like to do, you know, fondle little girls and blow up pizza parlors in fucking Yemen, well, then more power to you, I guess. Lord, man, I don't even know what this whole thing is blowing my mind. We're getting too fucked up because, yes, even those people, whoever you are, if you want to, you know, have a channel, you want to get on there and say, Allahu Akbar, I do not like Jews. They need to be driven into the sea because they eat Muslim babies. All Jews are evil and at night turn into blood-sucking vampires. Let's drive them out of our holy land. Please, let's go to... Now, I would guess I'd say I'd stop short of going from generalities like that to saying, go to a pizza parlor in Tel Aviv at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, you know, and blow it up. I'd stop short of that. But damn it, short of an actual call to action. You dig it, boys? An actual call to action, not just Muslim, because I'm saying Muslims are evil. They need to be driven the fuck out of America. So I don't want anybody to read that as I'm saying we need. You dig it? You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I'd have thought for the first bit you said, I would have just answered with, hello, Mr. Corbyn.
To be fair, I would say with the premise that you're setting, it's a case of, as what we've been saying about this whole point of advertising, the idea is in the perspective. The idea is in the eye of the beholder, so to speak, nowadays. If you're talking to somebody that naturally thinks that because you have a particular position that you are now going to be completely and utterly politically, I don't know, alt-right, completely Nazi, fascist, whatever. If they're going to think that straight away, then it's a case of you then have to try and convince them that you're not before you can even talk about your fucking points, which doesn't bode well for the idea of democracy or meritocracy in itself, because you can't fucking argue a point from a point of morality. You have to argue the point for the point.
You worried me for a second there, Common Sense. I thought you were turning into a potato.
I'm not Kevin Logan, and I'm not.
That sounded dangerously close to it, though.
I was getting there.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny how this story, I mean, I'm just going through my head of everything that we've touched on, a lot due to me, a lot due to Common Sense so far, getting off onto what things may seem to really be revolving around this planet is in this story. And the reason why is it touches so many, for me, it touches so many nerves for me. I mean, I just, as soon as we start trying to control what people are able to consume, no matter what that is, if it's alcohol, if it's marijuana, happy 420, it's not just Hitler's birthday, if it's heroin or if it's whatever, as long as it's not kiddie porn. Why do I say that? Well, I do believe that no matter what you do in kiddie porn, you do have an innocent party that can't consent, that shouldn't be there. So yes, I do have limitations on that kind of thing, but not pornography. You know, you want to have, and you want to spank the hell out of the girl. And then I'm also not into publicly shaming. And of course, this is society, boys. This is why all these little planets revolve around this thing. I suppose if I own Bollocks News Network's bumping and painting, car shop, and I am advertising on a porn site, maybe Xvids or something, whatever this is, Pornhub, one of these things. I have my advertisements there right next to the whatever else they got, the vagina flashlights and stuff. There it is. Bollocks News Network's bumping and painting. Well, why? I'm just going to say it again. Doesn't everybody want to take someone else's money? That's number one. And don't the people that are going to these sites also deserve to be exposed to my product? I mean, what is it about somebody that's, I don't know, alt-right or whatever we want to call it? And in my case, what about somebody that's, who's a real lefty, boys? Who's a real crazy lefty on YouTube?
Christy Winters or ContraPoints.
Yes, there you go. Christy Winters. I mean, I want to sell her stuff too, and I want her to sell her product. Anyway, I could babble about this. This affects society in so many ways. Once you start saying this is not even worthy to sell a shovel that's made to pick up horse shit, you can't sell that here because these people are Nazis. Well, man, you've just done so many horrible things to society. I can't count them all.
Exactly. I'm going to completely and utterly derail this stream, but it is in a context, and I don't give a fuck what you two think because it's my fucking stream for a change. But it's to do with a Twitter thing that I've just been going on, which is a little bit of an argument that's going on with myself and somebody. The premise, before I get into it properly, is the fact that Nigel Farage did an interview with InfoWars, but as he was doing the interview, he was using the LBC radio background because that's where he was, because he was just about to go on LBC himself, so they allowed him to do it. Basically, the argument was that he shouldn't be able to do that. So it gets to a point where the person I'm arguing with goes, I can't fucking believe that I'm tweeting someone who's too chicken shit to use their real name on Twitter and has a Ricky Grover's picture as their profile picture. Should never argue with a drunk or a fool. So I put, wow, you thought of all that by yourself. Does my argument change if I use a name or not? Or does the argument stand? Now, this is the most important part. No, but it demonstrates that if you have an argument to hide behind a synonym, that then your argument lacks validity. As if you're not forthcoming with who you are, then how can we believe what you stand for? My reply to that was, so no, it doesn't, but it does. What is it then? And I think that's the point what's going on today. It's a case of people contradict themselves so much because they're trying to be more intellectual than what they are. Now, I do this as well, and I'm sure other people do as well. They try to use words that necessarily don't fully understand in context. I do that. I'll admit that myself. I'll admit that now. but I don't put them into arguments when I'm arguing with somebody or if I'm having a discussion with somebody, because I want to talk about the points. I'm not trying to point score. I'm not trying to politicate. I'm actually trying to fucking express my point of view, where I won't actually fucking generally. I say this generally, actually, because sometimes I do. I try not to contradict myself by putting two bits, as in what he says, no, but. I asked a direct question. It's not a case that I asked two different questions. They were the same question. I just wanted to put that out there because I think that's what's going on in the world, and I think that's what's still part of our fucking stories at the minute.
I should imagine common sense there. Logic is you must dox yourself before I'll have an argument with you, because if you win the argument, I'll then go and tell everybody who you are in the hope that they will destroy your life.
Well, and I don't know if this person has a YouTube channel. I don't know who they are. Gareth J. Lewis. Gareth J. Lewis. Yeah. I'm reading this now. I got it popped up here. It says he blatantly says, because I'm trying to catch up on this. I've been reading it while you're talking here, and he just blatantly says, "Can't fucking believe that I'm tweeting someone who's too chicken shit to use their real name on Twitter, and has used Ricky Grover's I don't even know who that is picture as their profile pic. Should never argue with a drunk or a fool." Well, I know you drink from time to time. A fool, I would not say that. I would also say this guy don't know you, and you're arguing. I really don't get it. Common sense. I mean, you even engage that, because no, I would say it's an ad hominem, but ad hominem means to the man. And since this person doesn't know you, this is an ad hominem to a straw man.
Pretty much. Pretty much is use it as a completely not a straw man to say that I'm hiding behind the cinnamon and then my argument lacks validity because I'm not who I say I am. So does that mean the person, like, I'm sure we all remember Black Mask, the person who used to do the magic. Does that mean that his magic is any less more impressive because he hides behind a mask?
Oh, as he says this too, I think a black pigeon speaks. I mean, the names are just rolling through my head right now.
Exactly. Of all Sinatra says, fucking irate bear, fucking tons of them.
All kinds of people, and I don't know, even some of the ones I don't like, I want to stick up for now. I'm not going to name them because I'm not going to make it known that I would stick up for the cocksuckers. So I won't unless they need it. It's just the guy. Some of the responses too, like, remember the date and time you said that. What does that got to do with anything? Guilt by association.
Yeah, I asked him what the fuck he was on about. He's like, well, if you've got so much common sense, you'll be able to work it out. I hate it when fucking people do that. He's like, just explain your fucking point. I've obviously missed your highly intellectual point. I'm sorry, I'm not intelligent.
No, I don't think he's got one. I'm trying to find it too. That's why I pointed this out right here. I'm trying to find it. This is just something you say. This is equivalent to a Christian in the argument saying, well, you'll find out when you're burning in hell.
Yeah.
It's like, really? What is that? That's not even and I'm a Christian, by the way. I just don't like that argument that sometimes is used. It seems ridiculous to me.
I've just found out why he's so fucking annoyed. He's not actually annoyed that fucking LBC have actually fucking let Nigel Farage do this. It's a case of Farage used LBC's studio outside of his normal presenting slot to be interviewed by a hack who claims that the victims of Sandy Hook were actors. By him doing so, he is implicating, apparently, that LBC stand by the views that what he says. I think you just realized that guilty by association is what he was saying and what he meant, as in Nigel Farage is guilty by association.
Yeah, I understand that too, but going back to just our basic story here is about advertising. I don't believe, gentlemen, that advertisement or sponsorship means you condone what is being said. That, in fact, if you think about it, that's not possible. There's not possible that Adidas knows of and condones everything that every one of their what's the word I'm trying to look for? Benefactors. Wouldn't that be the converse of sponsor? Anyway, every one of the people that they sponsor, they don't know what they think and they don't agree with them all. It's as simple as that. There is no guilt by association when it comes to advertising. Once again, you ask two questions. How many people? What's the demographic?
Well, that's one of the weirdest arguments I've ever known, the guilt by association. Because say you're in a stadium and there is a suicide bomber in there who blows himself up. Does that mean everybody who was standing next to him in the stadium was actually an accomplice?
I don't know. Let's ask him.
No, mate. His mind's obviously on another topic now, and you're disrupt his chain of thought if we bring him back.
Well, it's like he's just. I haven't replied to him because I'm busy, but just because I'm actually talking. But generally, when I'm quiet, I'm probably actually will reply to him again. But at this moment in time, but you can test that LBC is a talk station that are open to a different point of view. Yes. Which is why I like listening to them. Obviously, you do. That's why you don't listen to Nigel Farage and you turn it off. But
I bet he tunes in at 10 o'clock when that James O'Brien's on, doesn't he? I bet that's his favourite one.
I bet it is as well. To be fair, he goes on to say, "But there is a line in the sand which will not be crossed." Case in point, Katie Hopkins, when she tweeted out the phrase "final solution," she was sacked. My retort to that will be similar to this, which will be under the case of, well, Katie Hopkins actually did that. That was her opinion. But talking to somebody about their opinions is the same as having somebody else on the talk show. What's the difference?
I'm looking for that part. I don't know. You boys are having at each other pretty good here.
Oh, no, that's what I'm going. That's what I'm going to say. I haven't said it yet.
Is that still the Gareth J. Lewis?
Yeah, it's still that cocksucker.
You ought to invite him on the stream.
I was thinking. You read my mind. That's what I was thinking. He did call you.
What fun this person would be.
He did. In fact, he didn't call. He called your straw man. I think. What did he say? Pussy. And that's okay. I mean, I don't need to be offended, but we could find out what kind of tough guy he is. I won't even dogpile his dumbass. I'll let you beat him up, make him look, or whatever. He might, who knows? He might be some kind of fucking towering genius that can outthink us all with one half of his brain tied behind his back, as Rush Limbaugh says.
Well, I haven't sent him a message. I've sent it in a tweet, so everybody will be able to see it. I put, do you want to come on to talk to me on a stream?
That's a rough one. The only worry, well, and I'd do it anyway. You know, I've done crazier shit. It's just he could send it out. Who knows? Just send it to him private and whatever happens.
I'm not going to send it to him fucking privately. I want to make sure that he wants to fucking come on first, rather than just sending it out.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. If he says yeah, but what can they do anyway? If people started coming on here, you could just kick them out. It's not a big deal.
I don't know. He's got over 440 followers.
Yeah, that's about. I've got 392. I know how he feels.
And how many of them are actually trying to sell him Viagra tablets
or soap? Yes, I don't know. Who knows?
We will all these to be asked and more later.
Yeah.
But with that being said, let's talk about the fucking left's golden child dying.
Yes. Oh, you're talking about this media Guido?
Yes.
Labor. Owen's descent continues. It says the descent of Owen Jones this year has been watched through the fingers of journalists and labor politicians and aides alike. It seems that almost every day Owen is falling out with people who should be his allies, getting involved in nasty Twitter spats with labor moderates, making uncharacteristically foolish mistakes, starting embarrassing fights, and acting like a pro-Corbyn Andrew Adonis as he seeks to overcompensate for his betrayal of Corbyn before the election. Owen has alienated his Guardian colleagues, probably the majority of Labour MPs, and today he has put a bomb under what was left of his reputation among journalists with the type of ill-thought-out moan that has sadly become all too common. And then there are some tweets here. One from Owen Jones says, the main thing I've learned from working in the British media is that much of it is a cult, affected by the suffocating groupthink, intolerant of critics, hounds internal dissenters, full of people who made it because of connections and or personal background rather than merit. This could be, I don't know this person.
That is actually interesting coming from him, considering he's a socialist and doesn't believe in meritocracy. The tweet at the very bottom of the responses is the best one, Mr. Ogre.
Says, this is from Harry Cole. Says, no, That's what he learned from working at The Guardian. Endless, tedious, contradictory columns and bitter sniping at working hacks. The man couldn't break a window, let alone a story. And the realization that the Corbyn team will never, ever forgive him seems to be eating him up.
Sounds fucking plausible, though. The fact that he went against Corbyn to begin with, then Corbyn won, and he's like, no, I love Corbyn. We're friends. Look, we look at each other.
He really is the definition of odious, squirming little shit. If ever I
This
saw
person,
one.
Owen, right?
He is. He's basically a 12-year-old trapped in a homosexual's body, and we don't even know if he really is homosexual or not.
Oh,
or
he looks like a real poofed. It's just my opinion.
He's the one who wrote that book, didn't he? Where he said he realized he was gay when he caught his girlfriend at the time being fucked by another man. So not only did he enjoy being a cuck, he also thought he wished he was his girlfriend at the time.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's already something mentally seriously wrong there. But he is such a overprivileged, spoiled little shit who can't stand it when people who are far intellectually superior to him and can out argue him, which doesn't take a lot. He's constantly blocking people. He walks out of interviews if they won't talk about what he wants them to talk about. He's constantly getting into spats and ends up losing. And he's just an all-round embarrassment, really. And he is the famous author of that book, which was Chav, the Demonization of the Working Class. And yet he hasn't got the first fucking clue what it means to be working class these days. No clue at all.
What are you trying to say? He's a socialist. He knows everything about the working class.
Socialism these days means common sense for everyone except me.
I'm glad that you continued that, because I thought you were going to say socialism is common sense, and I was going to say no, it isn't. I thought you were going to turn into a potato.
Mate, save that for your Twitter feed.
I really want him to come on, actually, to be fair, because I can see the premise of his argument, and the argument's actually, it's not the best argument in the world, but at least it comes from an actual point of just not because I don't like him. It actually comes from a point of morality. But it's his.
You do realize if he does come on, this will become temporarily the evening Kumite.
No way, man. I don't see that. Well, I mean, I won't know how this is a common sense guy's thing, but I mean, if somebody comes on like screaming and yelling and cussing, I just fucking be like, sorry, dude, this isn't going anywhere. See ya. But I mean, a good debate though, good throwdown on an idea. I've rarely seen that.
No, I do want him to come on, because I can't wait to listen to common sense ripping to pieces. But
or die trying. I wouldn't mind either way. It's just there's no argument there to me. I mean, what you have is the same thing that happens when Milo tries to go and give a speech somewhere and a bunch of crybabies don't want him to. You don't go buy the ticket. You don't watch. You don't go. You know, Ben Shapiro can't. You know, this terrifying little Jew. Don't go. Don't go watch it. Don't buy a ticket. You don't like that Farage is on your LBC or whatever the hell it's called. Well, just don't watch it for that program. Someone else will be on. The lady that Bollocks was mentioning. Some other cunt will be on. You can watch her.
I'm curious about how we've got to this state now where people just can't cope with being told that they're wrong, or can't accept when they're proven to be wrong. Because with common sense bringing up last night's Warski debate with, was it, how do you pronounce her name? Is it Aidan Paladin? Yeah, she was being accused by the potato of anti-Semitism, and
that was fun.
He is such an obnoxious, arrogant shit. It is unreal. How can anybody be? The only thing I can assume is that he does it deliberately to get attention, and I hope it will get him clicks on his channel. Because I can't believe anybody's that fucking obnoxious and stupid, really. But people seem to keep proving me wrong all the time.
The thing is with Kevin Logan is that he actually enjoys, and he actually honestly believes what he actually is talking about. And to me, sometimes, yeah, that's a good thing. But if you completely, it's like somebody that completely and utterly believes in whatever, some form of faith, and then you challenge that person on the faith, not to try and destroy their faith, but just to ask them to, have a look and, assess what's going on. But that person's so got their head in the sand that they just won't listen to any sort of form of argument. And that's what Kevin Logan is.
That's a weak faith that would bring a person to be that way. It's a very weak faith.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We had some discussions on this program a few times about faith. I personally believe that it's something everyone has and exercises in one way or another. It has nothing to do with nothing. Forget about that.
No. Faith, no. You are correct. As we've all come on to this point before, we've all said that we think feminism is a form of religion / cult. So yes, people do look for this type of faith. Some people form a conservative faith. Some people form a libertarian faith. It's a faith and belief that what we say and do in a particular ideology is going to change the world. It's the same as if you believe that Christianity is going to send you to heaven, or if you believe that Muslims, that you're able to go to have 70 fucking virgins.
Yeah, well, some people just hate Christianity so much that when they hear the word faith, they connect it mentally, internally, subconsciously with Christianity. So to tell someone like the cult of Dusty, I don't know why I bring that little cocksucker up all the time. It's probably because he's so annoying. But somebody like that right there, it's an issue for them. It's going to be so because they have faith. They have a ton of faith. But to get to say, I don't believe you could ever get him to say that he does. You say, I don't have faith in anything. Faith doesn't exist. But you have faith that your heart's going to keep beating for the most part. I mean, we all know that it could stop, but we don't all sit around going, holy shit, this is the last beat. Oh, that's the last one. Oh my goodness, that's the last. We don't do that because we have faith that it's going to keep beating, even though one day it will stop.
Yeah, even if somebody says, oh no, I don't. I know that it's going to work. Yeah, but because you have the faith that your heart's going to continue.
Right.
Not because you actually disbelieve that it's going to happen, because that's the point.
Yes.
Don't disbelieve that it's not going to happen. So you believe that it's actually going to keep on pumping.
Yes.
There is nothing wrong in having faith. I mean, not to go on to an actual religiosity fucking stream. But there's no point. There's no worries in actually having a form of faith. Everybody has faith in their friends, faith in their family. Some people stupidly have faith in humanity. I don't know why you would have that, but some people do. And it's just simple things like that. Some people just have faith in general. Most people have faith. It just depends on what it is.
Yeah, it's a fact. Well, how much longer are we going to shit on this guy, Owen Jones?
Oh, forever. I could do it all fucking day long.
So we could shit on him forever, or we could just say that the darling of the left is no longer the darling of the left and he is wiltering.
Yeah, they're going to keep eating each other. I think it's funny every time this happens, boys, because he sounds like somebody that was one of their darlings, and now he just... whatever, falling out of line. So he's going to get torn apart and eaten.
I think it's the case that he is not getting very high. What would you say? He's not getting very high recordings at the moment. He's not very high on the public opinion polls. Most people see that he's a piece of shit and he's slimy. So he's the perfect scapegoat at the moment. And now he knows the real reasons why the left keep people like him around. It's definitely not for diversity.
No. On the plus side, though, I'm sure that he's got a very strong future at the Daily Mail in another 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, that's trying to say that he's going to grow up. He's not going to grow up.
Hey, mate, if he needs money enough, you never know.
We all need money, but some of us are unable. Some of us are in a state of, arrested development. We'll never grow up.
He does have
some case.
He does have a YouTube channel, so said maybe we should reach out to him one week. Common sense, invite him on to help reestablish his connection to the ordinary man.
The cuck.
Yeah, why not?
But hang on now. What you said is true, though. He really was caught his old lady getting banged and said that he not only liked that, but he was wishing that it was him getting banged.
It's in his book. Not
right,
my
so
words.
All I'm going to say is that I'd love to have him on, but if you boys think that I could sit through any length of a conversation with the guy and not bring that up,
I'm sure he'd be more than happy for you to bring it up, because you are discussing his book that can be purchased.
Because I would like to question somebody. Say, so you're a cuck. You're a real life cuck. You want to? You think that's something that you want to do? Is sit there and I thought it was just like some kind of fetish porn people made. I had no idea it was a real thing.
No, actual cuck.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Well, I was going to say, to be fair, comparing to Owen Jones, he'll probably bring up the fact that the Huffington Post. Sorry, it was
better name.
It was the gay side. Sorry, it was the gay one. The Huffington Post actually was able to write up a bit about cuckery in general and tried to push the fallacy of saying that it was actually healthy for a relationship. Now, I can guarantee you who wrote that. I can't remember her name, but I can guarantee you their gender, and it wasn't a man.
There was another story. Where was it? In one of the tabloids last week about some woman who was ironically, I think, an ex-Labour councillor who's early 40s, blue hair, and she's got a husband, a boyfriend, and about another 2 other lovers. And again, this was being, pushed as being, a good thing and very liberating for women. But you should have seen the men. The average age was about fucking 83, I think.
Hey, but okay, but forget about the ages. So what if would they say the same? Did they ever do a story about like some Mormon dude banging 7 different chicks?
Well,
is that liberating also?
If it was to be in this country now, especially of a man having many wives that he's banging, and it's a good thing, it would have to be a Muslim family.
It'd have to be Muslim. So there's no way that some blonde-haired, blue-eyed girls could get together with some old Mormon dude and lay the poon on him.
They could, but I doubt it would be in the tabloids.
Huh. Well, they used to make it in there in the old days. You used to always see shit about Mormons in the Daily Star and in the freaking the National Enquirer and shit like that.
Yeah,
like,
unfortunately,
Mormon man has 72 wives, ranging in age from 13 to 92. And it's like some old dude, it's like a 60-year-old dude, and he really does shows all his wives there. Just a fucking sea of wives with little suckling brats everywhere. Fucking 10,000 children. And the problem with it, the problem with it is the same thing with the Muzzies. They come over there, they come over here, and in the Mormons case, as soon as the government took over, and it wasn't just the Mormons out there in Salt Lake and in Nevada, in Arizona, all over there in the Southwest anyway. It's the state supports them, so they got all these broads pregnant. They, honest to God, bollocks, boys, common sense, honest to God, some of these dudes have 250 children with as many as 35, 40 wives. I'm not even shitting. You can't make this shit up. And so they can't support them. So what do? They're all on welfare. And to be perfectly honest, if you have that many wives, they're pulling all of their welfare and food stamps. They get it for the kids. They get it for themselves. You can actually live really fucking good. It's because people are like, no, you can't. Well, bullshit. Put together the welfare that you collect. Figure it out for 200 freaking anyway. Yeah. So as long as they're Muzzies or something like that, I guess it's okay, but not really. That's a drain on society. Well, shit, boys, I seen that one story in Sweden where there's some poor woman here just got pregnant. And she's been on the wait for getting a government house for 3 years. She's been waiting. Some Syrian, or it was some immigrant anyway, from some African or some country, right? They come there, and I don't think it was Syrian. It was from Somalia or something. So they come there, and he's got 3 wives. So they not only they gave him 3 houses.
That's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, now the woman's still on the wait list. I think we did cover it, but you know how many stories we covered, all jumbled up into one. But yeah, I think we talked about it like 2-3 months ago. Yeah, that is no shit. I don't even know why I'm bringing this up. It's just fucking crazy, the world today, man. It's fucking crazy. I don't really care, boys. You know what I say? Bollocks will really appreciate this. Don't tax me for it. Don't make me fucking pay for it. You want to do all that crazy shit? Stop taking my money. You go do it. You go talk people into it. If they want to give it to you, they can give it to you. I don't want to. I want all my money. I don't want to fund the fucking crazy ass government.
I was just thinking. I was looking at this guy's profile because I've just sent a tweet to him with just saying I'd really like to talk to you.
Yeah.
But I was just looking at his profile. He looks like a teacher, and he also looks like he's from London. Now, the reason why I bring up the fact that he's from London is because I honestly feel that not demographics, the graphical place where you actually live, I feel that actually has a proportion of how you actually feel in politics. So if you're in a ruralized version, you normally become a little bit more conservative because you understand the more of the value of money, so to speak, and you have more of a traditional upbringing. Where if you're in the city, so to speak, I think you have more of a leftist ideology where everybody should help and look after you because you don't really have that type of thing. And I'm just wondering if I could ever fucking prove that as a fucking theory.
Well, also don't forget, if your theory, common sense about him being a teacher is true, then it's 75% of all teachers are Labour supporters.
Oh fuck me! He's trying to be fucking funny on one of their points. Was told that you can't teach common sense. So, in answer to your statement, not particularly.
Oh man, you got. I mean, I don't know what you say about somebody. I'm reading that right now. I mean, I don't think he would understand if you tried to explain why you call yourself the common sense guy.
Doesn't fucking exist.
You tell him to. You tell him.
It went right over the moron's head.
Yeah, can you finally tell him to stop getting his dad to fill in the humorous bits and actually use an argument from his own head?
I've tried, but not using the dad bit.
I keep popping this up now too. I hope this guy comes on. I thought when you said he's in London, I mean that was a great philosophy and idea. And I tell you what, I agree. And it's obvious. All you gotta look is demographics, and you can see what's happening. And we could argue the whys, but yeah, people in the city, they tend to be the lefties, and the people in the rural area tend to be more right wing. It's just the way it is. Yeah, I'd like to have this guy come on. It'd be funny.
Well, people who work in the public sector have a tendency to be particularly left-leaning because they think that having a big government is good for their prospects in terms of earning money, and they love socialism just as long as it doesn't apply to them. And it is mainly people who've never had to work in the actual productive side of the economy, the side that actually makes the money to pay them fuckers wages in the first place. These are people who never leave education. They're educated, they go to university, and then they go straight back into education. They don't know what it's like to actually have to graft hard, come up with ideas, work in teams, have extreme pressure put on you to hit deadlines. No, it's mark a few fucking textbooks and then piss off home and moan about how difficult your fucking job is as you're taking your 8 or 9 weeks off every fucking year.
All right, Gavin McGinnis.
I did want to be a teacher at one point, but unfortunately I grew up.
Teaching's a noble profession. I would say this though. There is a huge difference between being a teacher that teaches a subject to learning sponges and being a philosopher that uses every classroom to espouse a certain ideal. That's not, you're no longer a teacher. That's for after school. If there's kids that like you, they'll meet you on the quad, or they'll meet you in the cafeteria, and you can, put one leg up on the damn thing and sit there and philosophize all day and tell them how they should be good little commies. And the ones that don't want to hear your shit don't have to.
That's the thing, Mr. Ogre. We don't really have educators anymore. We have indoctrinators, don't we? They're just teaching them how they must all suck the bell end of the state as soon as they're into adulthood. The state is like a big mother that you must always respect, and they will look after you as long as you follow every single rule that the state tells you, which means you have to care for what you do, care for what you say, and never ever question authority. Nah, fuck that. What I want to do is actually get out in the world and make something of myself, and if it means that somebody else is disadvantaged, that's their fucking problem.
That's a fact, man.
Definitely.
Well, it's tough because, again, when you look at rural areas, you do have people that seem to be more independent. Then you look in the heavily populated areas, and then it comes right down to this. Well, I don't even have the balls and or the ability to shut someone up if it comes down to that. So, because I don't like the way they're talking, I want to have someone else. I want to give someone else the authority to shut them up. you know, a la Dankula, who, by the way, just a couple days now, 4 days, 24th, I believe, is good, man. He's going to get his sentence. And tweeting out some stuff. What just a stand-up guy. Although the cocksucker always seems to be too busy to hang out with the fucking ogre, you daggone cheeky cunt. I was your friend when nobody knew you, motherfucker. I hope you don't get ass raped. And no, I'm just teasing. Anyway, I mean, he's just cracking jokes.
You really want him over there, Mr. Ogre?
No, he's oh, you can't hurt that guy's feelings. You ever seen any of his streams?
Oh yes.
See what people say. No, that guy, that's why I love him, man. You could, I mean, the first time he was on a stream with me, I was like, well, you said I should ask you anything that these people are asking, but I don't know if you want me to read some of these things. He said, oh, go on, mate. Go on, lad, or whatever. And I was like, okay. This guy wants to know if your old lady likes the smell of cum that's always in your scraggly ass fucking beard. And he was just like, oh, yeah, those are me mates. And I was like, wow, all right. And they got just progressively worse from there. I mean, I'm not even going to repeat some of the ones now. Make me a little sick to my stomach. But yeah, he's cracking jokes about, with so little time left, I'm sitting here listening to Depeche Mode and playing Super Mario Kart or some shit. I just love the guy. I always like a guy you can't get down. When you see everybody shitting, and in his case, now let's face it, not everybody's shitting on him, but the one that's taking his shit does seem to be the most important, right? You know, it's the last one you want to have squat above you, lift their kilt, and drop a giant load on your fucking head. It's the last one.
The government, the fucking government.
Well, anyway, I'm just glad to see him.
Governments and fucking democracies. On to the Brexit, and the views of the 48% should be counted too.
Oh yes, we do have a show here, don't we, gentlemen? It looks like the Guardian is putting out this story.
It wouldn't be anything else.
Yeah. Says that Brexit on the views 48% must be respected too. That is democracy. Given that the UK is split, it's only fair if the government delivers Brexit in name only, as is looking increasingly likely. That is just a terrifying statement. We're heading for Brexit in name only, so I'm pretty frustrated. Join the club, Nigel Farage. The tortured process of leaving the EU has been pretty frustrating for everyone, not the least Remainers, who see their conviction that Brexit will leave Britons worse off, corroborated by every new report about the country's future. While there are some who believe that the whole thing can be stopped, it seems the prospects of that are dwindling. But so is the Brexiteers' dreams of a complete rupture, or hard Brexit behind red lines. Today, the Daily Telegraph reports that the EU has comprehensively rejected British proposal for a magic border, but no border in Northern Ireland. What? That sucks. The EU. I'm sorry, boys. You're gonna have to explain this. Why does the EU have anything to fucking do with it? I thought y'all just kicked them out. So the government's.
Oh, sorry. Carry on, Mr. Ogre.
I'm almost done here, and then I will shut up because you got to explain that to me. This is what's fucked up and why y'all need to follow through on this. The government's conjuring trick, like David Copperfield's, has been exposed, except no one was really fooled in the first place. It was made clear that none of the UK's customs customs options will work. None of them, said the Telegraph source. Michael Banner has apparently stopped it. Yeah, that guy, Barnier, has apparently stopped the EU's internal preparations for trade talks until Theresa May comes up with a better plan. All right, boys, I don't even have nothing to start this with. I just want to know why the EU would have any say in what happens in Ireland.
Because the Republic of Ireland is in Europe, and the border that is with Northern Ireland is the Europeans' customs union border.
Because Ireland didn't Brexit or what?
No. Southern Ireland is Ireland. Yeah, Republic of Ireland is a separate entity to the rest of us, so it stays within the EU.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
and
okay, so it's not the Ireland that fucking Voice lives in.
No, that is that one is Northern Ireland.
Okay.
Yes, he lives in Bang Bang a Boom part.
Yeah, he lives in the actual good bit.
All right. I hope y'all get the hell out of there, man.
But what he's actually said there is one massive contradiction anyway, because he's saying that, if the EU has now apparently gone back on its word and says that we can do these trade agreements, said no, now you can't. If this carries on the way it's going, it is going to go down the full Brexit route, because we'll end up leaving without a deal, which is a full fucking Brexit. So don't give us this shit that it's now looking like a Brexit in name only. That's absolute crap. Brexit in name only is not Brexit anyway. And he's just fucking dreaming if he thinks.
How long, if all trade was cut off, bollocks, how long do you think it would be before the EU came crawling back with Angela Merkel at their head saying, please buy our luxury German automobiles, please buy our shit, because we need all of that sweet, sweet British cash?
Well, it's not so much the EU, it'll be the actual nations, especially Germany, who will be going ape shit.
I'm
from France. They sell y'all a lot of wine and cheese and whatnot, don't they? I know y'all probably don't buy Peugeots, but you buy their other shit.
Hey, I have a Peugeot. Fuck you.
Oh, isn't that French?
Yes.
Yep. I have a Renault as well.
Chips.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, boys. I did own an Opel 1900 once, so I can't talk. Well, anyway, I mean, you get what I'm saying. All I'm saying is it wouldn't take long. And yes, as you said, bollocks, it would be, but there would be a lot of people knocking on the door saying, please, can we please have some of that tasty freaking British gold?
Can I just pose a quick question, actually, before we actually go forward?
Oh, far away.
The fact is that it's more of a statement / question. The fact is that everybody's trying to say, oh, we need to actually have some form of customs union so we can have a deal. No, we don't. We can have World Trade Organizations.
Yeah.
We don't actually need to have an actual.
You're a member of the WTO.
Huh?
You're a member state of the WTO.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're already fucking member.
But we're not allowed to implement it because we're part of the European Union, and we have to stick to the rules of the customs union.
Yeah. But if we don't get any trade agreements after the, was it 29th, is it next February, when we have officially left, if no agreements are in place, that means we technically...
You mean April?
No, it's the end of February, isn't it?
When we actually leave is the 29th of April.
Is it? Have they moved it?
No, it's always been the 29th of April.
Oh, okay. But whenever we watch it, Article 50, the 2 years ends, no trade agreements, even if we have agreed this supposed transition, if the trade agreements aren't in place, that means that we're out. And that means we will just automatically revert to WTO.
Yep. Which ain't so fucking bad. It means all our food will be cheap and all of our clothes will be cheap.
The argument they were saying about it was going to push price of food up, they were assuming that we were going to charge the full tariff, the 5%. We, as members of the WTO, what it means is we can impose tariffs up to 5%. It doesn't mean we have to.
Yeah, you could have zero.
We can have zero if we wanted to.
You're a member state. You can set your own whatever you want as up to their limits. Yes. So you can say, look, China, we want your rice.
Which would mean our imports would actually be cheaper than what they are now.
Yeah.
No, it's just a big lie. If to be a member state of the World Trade Organization puts you in a very good position. The EU is supposed to be collective, but basically what I see, it looks to me like they drain the money out of the wealthy countries and then pump it in some ways, mostly to themselves. I don't really see it going to poorer countries. And now they want to add, what is it, Turkey?
Yep, but they said that they were never actually going to.
That's a load of bull.
They said they were never going to add Turkey, and lo and behold, they're adding Turkey because they want to try and use their economy to keep fucking Greece afloat.
Yeah, that's what Bollocks said, or if one of y'all said the other day. I thought about that. I was like, holy shit, Greece is sunk. If the tourist industry wasn't what it was, there'd be no Greece at all.
No, they would have literally capitulated. They would have literally crumpled in on themselves.
Yeah, it'd be a cave. It'd be people living in caves, growing their own tomatoes and zucchini to survive and eating one another. No, I don't know about that, but it'd be bad. I don't know, boys.
I have on this story, the main point that really got me on this story is not even the bits that he contradicts himself on. It's the fact that we're heading for a Brexit in name only. So sorry. Not that one. Not that one at all. Where is it, you motherfucker? Given that the UK is split, it's only fair if the government delivers Brexit in name only. But the UK isn't split. That's the reason why we had a fucking decision. That's the bit that annoys me. We had the referendum. The referendum was already chosen. Just because 48% voted against it doesn't fucking mean anything. It's the same as if fucking 32% voted against it. They would still be using that as a saying, but for trying to say, but the whole country didn't vote for it. It's just the argument that keeps on fucking coming up. I love the way that they're now trying to use the idea of democracy as well. It's like, okay, well, we had democracy on the referendum. Why do we need to have so much as what you say on the democracy of the final deal? All you're going to do is scupper the deal to prove that you were wrong, right.
Do you know what, common sense? It's the equivalent of having a horse race and the actual result being maybe a photo finish, and them saying, no, far too close, we'll have to run the race again until there's at least a 2-second gap between the winners.
I love my dad's analogy.
I like that one. Sorry.
I love my dad's analogy. My dad's analogy is fucking pretty good, especially considering he's an authoritarian cunt. But his analogy is, say if Arsenal and Liverpool were playing a football match and Liverpool won by a single goal to nil, and all of the Arsenal supporters go, no, we didn't like that result, we want it replayed.
Yeah.
That's what's going on now.
Or maybe they want the old, the 90s version of extra time for Manchester United, which would kept playing till they won.
Well, yeah, but it never went over 97 minutes, though, did it?
But it is literally that case, isn't it? The trying to find any excuse they can. Oh, because it was so close. I'm sorry. No. If the results were there was more people who voted for leave than remain, that means leave won. That's it.
It wouldn't matter if it was 50.1%.
But it's incredible. It's incredible that I just really cannot believe that the working class are generally not on the streets rioting because they are being stitched up by their own establishment. Yeah. An establishment that does not want to do this because they're all fucking got skin in the game and it's all making them nice and comfy and wealthy. Well, fuck them. We've had enough of being shat on.
Well, it makes the rest of the world wonder if there's any real Englishmen left when we see your real heroes like Tommy Robinson standing up for raped little girls and standing up for the downtrodden working man of England, be black or white, but usually not muzzy. And so they shit on him, and we watch the police just stand by and see the man beaten and taking on 4 or 5 of these cowards at one time, and still has. And then we say, well, most Britons say that they don't support him, they don't like this guy. I really don't know, because to be honest, boys, I don't talk to a shitload of people, but the people that I know that know that situation all say the same thing. What the fuck is going on in England when there's not an Englishman left over there?
Well, I have to say that I do honestly feel exactly the same as what Magic Bollocks has said and alliterated and many times in the chat in general, all over different streams. If this actually is starting to implement, where the Lords and this push for trying to push us into the customs union, because this is their last ditch effort, so they're going to push really hard on trying to get the government to go into this customs union. If they really do get this to happen, I honestly do feel that there will be some form of riots in the street. Some forms of Brexiteers like the Jacobs Rees-Moggs and people like that will be absolutely incensed, and not trying to say they would call to action, but something very, very similar would happen in protests, I believe. I really do feel that there would be a lot of people on the streets if something like that happened. Because people are not thick. If you're actually going to say it in your fucking newspaper as well, people are not fixed. If we go into the customs union, we haven't left Europe. What was the point in wasting all this fucking money? If you were going to do this, just fucking put it back in the NHS.
Yeah.
Too many people with skin in the game at the top. Common sense is always the same, mate. It's the fact that the whole civil service is very much what's called pro-EU, because it means that they haven't had to do a fucking proper day's work since, what, 92? Everything is just what's called tied into Europe. Their pensions are tied into Europe. The whole infrastructure is, and it's nice and comfy and easy for them. They don't want the fucking asshole having to, get up and actually do real jobs and, do proper policies. And no, it's just it's going to take a hell of a lot to fucking sort out our what's called establishment now, because they have been all bought and paid off. At least the Americans still have a system where they've got their constitutional rights, which is part of their laws, and they have a system where anybody can still become the leader of the free world. We don't have that.
The system is so corrupt that right now, as we speak, not only, I love this headline, boys, DOJ probes Comey over classified. I know I said all right. But look at this. Look at this one, gentlemen. The Dems sue over Russia, Trump, and WikiLeaks. I'm not trying to derail and go into the story. I'm just saying the headline. Democratic Party files suit alleging Russia. The Trump campaign and WikiLeaks conspired to disrupt the 2016 election. Look, when WikiLeaks was destroying Bush, they loved him. The Democrats were flying. I don't know if y'all know this, but they were flying Julian Assange around. I mean, they loved him. He was their darling. Now they're gonna sue WikiLeaks. I mean, come on, man. It's not. It's you said it though. The people at the top got a bunch of skin in the game. So we got the president we voted for. They cry about popular vote, just like they did with Bush Jr. Well, it's the way it is here. You win this way. It's set up that way for a reason. So it's not just two wolves and a sheep voting on bloody dinner. We don't do it that way. We do it by electoral college for a reason. That is a good representation of what the country actually wants. If you don't believe it, put a red map over the blue map of that election, and you will see that there were tiny little blue islands all around the United States, and the vast majority of the rest of the country didn't want anything to do with the other candidate. Anyway, and the point being this, boys, Brexit, like we were talking about in the beginning, like I started at the very beginning of the stream, Brexit, like the Trump presidency, the globalists, the insiders, the balls deep with the BBC, whatever you want to call it, deep state, it doesn't matter. It's them people, those people, the ones that are in charge and at least used to pulling the levers of power, man, they ain't gonna have it. I am starting to wonder if President Trump's gonna make it to this first term. I believe if the election is held, I think he'll be elected again. Then they will really shit the bed. This will only be a warm-up. Brexit's the same way, man. They're not going to stop. Now, I can't believe, boys, that they're calling out in a paper that people can read. This isn't a private publication, that they're saying, oh, now we can just go with a Brexit in name only. When they start putting across ideas like that, they're setting up for the kill. That's like when the Warriors are out and they send the young braves out on their horses to stampede on the other side of all the deer, and the deer come rushing towards them and they take them down with their spears. That's what this. I mean, they're just setting up for the kill.
To be fair, Mr. Ogre, it's coming from the Guardian, and the Guardian have been losing around 90 million quid every single year for about 5 years, and they're burning through their parent company's trust fund, which will run out in about another 3, I think.
Oh, so, one that they actually have in the US is actually a charity. It's actually a registered charity.
And if you look on the US, if you look on the website, you'll very often find messages begging for money, because they sell about 150,000, and most of them are bought by fucking BBC employees.
Pretty much.
No ordinary person buys the Guardian because they know it's a load of shit. It's just basically a load of metropolitan lovies who think that they have some kind of divine intervention to tell the rest of the country how to live, but most of the rest of the country is just sticking 2 middle fingers up to him.
I prefer the Guido.
I was going to say again, with what I made up of earlier about my theory about rural and cities. If you look at the demographics in London, I think it's nigh on 75 to 80% of people voted to remain. And if you look at any sort of group that is to try and form a last-ditch effort to remain, all of them are based in London. You've got this Remain group, Renew Britain group, that's supposed to be starting up. I don't know if it has properly yet or whatever. I should really fucking do some research on it again. But you've got this Renew Britain group that is literally funded by Macron's fucking centrist party from France, which is illegal, but they just can't fucking prove where the money comes from. You've got George Soros that's fucking donated fucking 400 grand into it, But because he's technically a British citizen, that is okay for him to do that. But you've got these things that are all coming out of London. Nowhere else in the whole of the UK is anybody saying anything about we need to stop Brexit. I'm sure there's small pockets in different cities, but London in itself is the fucking epicenter of it. They honestly do believe that they are the fucking only ones that matter. Their idea of democracy is what happens in London stays in London and fuck the rest.
Yep. It's basically fragmented now, isn't it, to the sort of the very well-off sort of west part of the city, like you've got your Islingtons and you've got your Kensingtons and Chelseas, and then you've got the absolute shit areas, which is about 75% of it, which is now, of course, less than 50%. Well, was at the last census. God knows what it is now. Left to 50% indigenous Londoners. Yeah. I can't wait till 2021 to find out what it is then. I really can't, because it'll be. I think they will probably try and hide the figures when the people actually realise how bad it's now got in our capital. It's literally money and poverty. That's it.
Well, I think you've touched something fucking amazing on that point, because now we can actually segue into a Snapchat ban for jailed Burton child groomers on the BBC.
Yeah, it just makes sense to me, and this is coming out of BBC News, and that is the headline: Snapchat ban for jailed Burton child groomers. Funny thing is, boys, I spent a lot of my childhood in a town called Burton, Michigan, just south of the infamous Flint, Michigan. So that's something we have in common. I'm sure that's where they got the name from. So these lovely gentlemen, look at this lad right here. Look at those jug handlers with some really good-looking lads. Diverse is what the word I was looking for. Very diverse-looking motley crew. One of the victims one of the victims realized they were being abused after she watched a film warning how grooming can take place without victims realizing it. I don't even know what that means, but maybe y'all will explain that at the end of this. 4 men jailed for child grooming and treating teenage girls like trophies have been banned from using Snapchat.
Before you carry on, remember that quotation point, because I've read this story twice. Remember this quotation point now for what
like trophies.
What goes on later on. Like,
so we're all going to put this on a. We're all going to put this in a hook in our brain. Teenage girls, treating them, quote, teenage girls like trophies.
Remember that quote for later on. Please carry on. Sorry.
All right, here we go. Just bear with me. I will do my best. Taib Hassan, 19. Mohammed Haizer Rizwan, 18. Shahim Ratyal, 19. And Sohail Raja Ali, 19. All from Burton. Yeah, I'm sure these boys sound like they're from Burton, Upton, Trent. I'm sorry, man. I can't. Hey, bollocks, these boys I just named, I'm sure you could spell every one of their names just by hearing it. They're all from Burton, Upton, Trent. And they pled guilty to various child grooming offenses in February. They were each banned from social media app for 8 years at their sentencing at Stanford Crown Court. The victims were 5 girls aged 13, man, to 16. His Honor Judge Jonathan Gosling said the case was nothing like Rochdale, and that the men were not predatory pedophiles, but schoolboys. Yeah.
Whoa, wait a minute.
This kid looks like a school. Yeah, there's some schoolboys. This is a baby face here.
Schoolboys at 19. They are thick fuckers then, aren't they?
Yeah, I imagine. I can't. When it's called schoolboys, they don't look and their ages don't match. So His Honor, Judge Jonathan Gosling said the case was nothing, blah, 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 blah. He added, the girls meant nothing to them. This may where we need to take that off the hook. We'll see. The girls meant nothing to them. They were an agency to satisfy their adolescent lust. And Judge Gosling said the men will be released after serving half their sentence, which was already reduced by 155 days. Do I continue? The court heard one of the victims released. Excuse me. Yeah, heard one of the victims released. They were being abused after she watched a film. We just read that. She felt brave enough to tell her father what she thought was happening to her. The men were subsequently arrested and further victims came forward. The court heard how one of the victims was 14 when she met, I think it's Ratyell, but there you go, Ratyell, 17 at the time. After he delivered a pizza to her, he admitted he really liked her and initiated sexual contact with her. He forced her, wow, to perform sex acts and shared intimate pictures of her. The judge said, now these people, remember, they're not predators or pedophiles in any way. Man, where am I at? This is tough to read, man. These people make me a little ill. The judge said Ratyell convinced his victim that he loved her. And she, in her childlike way, she thought she loved him too.
So, evidence of grooming, possibly. Let's go back to the quotation I asked everybody to remember. Teenage girls like trophies, but apparently they weren't pedophiles or groomers.
Well, not great. And then they contradict that because it says right here, where was it at? It says that the judge says the girls meant nothing to them. Okay,
exactly.
If there's a trophy, that is something that bolsters your ego. You know, you may have a problem with your ego. You may not think that you're smart or whatever you could be.
Guys, is somebody that's actually, say for instance, a serial killer. It's something that they actually treasure so that they can actually remember and reenact in their mind what's actually happened and gone on.
Look, if this
trophy actually is.
I'll be perfectly honest, 14 is a wee bit young to me. I don't know what the laws are. I think around here it's something to the effect of 16. A girl can give legal age of consent.
No, that's the same for us. That's the same for us. It's 16, but
it seems reasonable. At 13, if you're 17, 18 years old, man, I don't know, man. Around here, if you're in the park chatting up some young girl like that age, you know, and you're that man, you're gonna get ran off, and it wouldn't anybody that's seen you gonna run you off.
Yep. Don't worry too much about the sentencing too much. All of them have been sentenced for forcing the child to do stuff and having pictures of the child as well. One of them is also a case of forcing two children to engage in a sexual activity as well. All of them have been sentenced for nigh on near 4 years and 4 months each.
Well, they should be, and maybe even more. But here's a problem: the judge. I don't agree with that judge. I don't think he should be judging anything, but maybe a pie eating contest. It says Ali first met his victim on Snapchat. She was 13 at the time, and he was 18.
Definitely no signs of grooming. Definitely no signs of grooming.
And when it says the 13, here's in her own words: the 13-year-old said the sexual activity with Ali, quote, had a massive impact on her, close quote. So this young girl has been molested by a pedophile. I really don't know how else you would put that, or why you would say it's a schoolboy. And let's say it is a schoolboy, 18, 19 years old. It's a schoolboy that's old enough to be, you know, responsible for their actions.
Well, legally they're an adult.
Yeah, some's got to give.
Yeah.
Well, this is just too bad. These boys here, I don't know, man. What I'm reading, forcing sexual acts and whatnot, I think they probably get 15 to 20 here, something to that effect.
Oh, you need to carry on, my friend. You need to read Rubbish Heap.
Okay, let me get to that.
It gets worse. So if anybody's getting angry in the chat or anything else like that, take a deep breath. This is now where it switches from the fucking.
Let me take a swat too. Let me take a swat and get a drink of water, because it's that last stuff is hard for me not to laugh and whatever, because it's hard to believe this is true, right? This is almost like it's from The Onion.
Yeah.
Or the Saturday Evening Star. What was that? Bollocks, the Saturday Star.
What was that, Mr. Ogre?
What was that newspaper that's like The Onion over there? The Saturday, the sports.
Oh, the Sunday Sport. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Sorry, it's been a while since we looked at that. It's you'd almost think that this came out of that. But here we go. Rubbish Sheep. In mitigation, the court heard how Hassan was naive and immature, and as a result of the case, he has had to resign from his job. Rizwan's lawyer told the court how his family's reputation has been thrown on the rubbish heap by what happened, and his client apologized openly to the court and his victims. He said Rizwan was very immature and sexually inexperienced at the time of the offending. Was his victim inexperienced sexually?
No. Just for a second.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is a common get out that lawyers use.
You don't know our culture, all this shit.
Kind of. Just let us finish for a second.
Mm-hmm.
This is an actual point that the lawyers actually use for getting their clients off of any sort of sexual cases. They say that their clients, due to only going to Muslim schools or from their cultures in general, are not knowing what's going on with the real world. And even though you can tell by the cases, they're the ones leading and they're the ones pulling the girls towards them, they get classified as sexually inexperienced and sexually inept and doesn't have a clue. To one point, I can remember a story from Nottingham, which is near here, by the way, where a 17-year-old and a 13-year-old, obviously the guy is the 17-year-old, gets this girl to come down to Nottingham to meet him from Birmingham, which is quite a way, and takes her to a Premier Inn hotel, goes into the bathroom, comes out in a robe wearing a condom. And at the court case, the judge says he is sexually inexperienced and had no idea what he was doing.
Well,
am I to guess as well that they're strictly keeping this to, members of the religion of peace?
Well, of course. Oh, can you imagine if this was some
I'd like to see them try and pull that shit with like a 17-year-old fucking white boy saying.
What if it was Thomas Jones?
That is just absolutely fucking diabolical, isn't it? And it's just, the reason why these judges get away with it is because they damn well know in where their daughters are being educated and growing up is nowhere near where the fucking areas have been culturally enriched. So they can give a flying fuck. Oh, it's happened to the working class girls. Well, they probably deserved it anyway.
Jeez. Well,
that's the attitude these people have.
That's basically what common sense is saying. They say another thing, because here's another defense they use. Well, in our culture, if you can see a girl's chin, that means she wants to fuck you. If you can see her legs and her arms and everything, oh man, she's just telling you that I'm a whore. I want to give it to you. And they also don't believe that raping an infidel is a sin. I mean, you can go down the list. And oh man,
there's about 8 different fucking Quranic verses that actually say that it's okay to rape women that don't even wear the burqa.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. It's good. Go for it.
And yet, what they will use against you is that if you bring these subjects up, it's because you're a racist.
Not me.
For bringing up the actual factual truth of their culture.
Yep.
That's just saying racist.
You don't understand the Quran. You have to remember that bit as well.
Obviously,
it's to do with interpretation.
Well, what the fuck do they think they're doing?
Interpreting. But they're interpreting the right way. You're a bigot for the way that you interpret it. Actually reading the words and understanding what they actually mean.
Stephen Crowder, that response to Talk Islam, I'll never forget that. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
I've obviously not taken enough money from the Saudis to be convinced yet, have I?
Oh, is that a pop at Labour or Tories? All the fucking...
That's a pop at every fucking one of them, mate.
That's the reason why I went that way.
These boys keep saying that they lost their jobs and stuff, and that's what they're worried about. They're going to prison.
That's the reason why I said it gets fucking worse, because the BBC actually even put that in there to make you feel sorry for the fucking young lads. Now, don't get me wrong. Fair enough. If you've done something where you've accidentally that you've decided that you've nicked something, or you've done like nicking something from a shop or fucking something like that. Fair enough. I feel sorry for you because you fucked yourself up for a stupid idea or whatever, or you've got yourself a drug fucking conviction, for weed or something like that, for possession. I feel sorry for you, but for fucking raping fucking children,
no, I don't feel bad at all.
Grooming them so that they believe that they're fucking in love with you is fucking not something I'm going to forgive you, and I'm going to disagree with the fucking judge. It is exactly the same as fucking Rochdale. The reason why it's exactly the same as Rochdale is just because they weren't a fucking rape gang, as in there weren't fucking loads of them. They still fucking groomed them, raped them, passed them around to get them to fucking fuck each other Does that not fucking sound like a rape gang, even though it's a lot smaller?
Well, you know, the worst part about this whole article right here is that I think it only mentions one time anything about the victims. It says that it was very hard for her. It had a massive impact on her, the 13-year-old. That's it. Doesn't say anything about any of the other girls, but it does go on to even deeper down here in her terrible ordeal say that Rat Yell was a talented footballer. Why does any of this? I really want to know. Instead of even reading,
who wanted to be a teacher.
Yeah, I'm reading this. Why does anything that they are or were or wanted to be matter right now? Why would any of that matter?
Well, I'll tell you what, the fact that Magic Bollocks has just literally put that up is fucking quite relevant, actually. The fact that he wanted to be a teacher, that means that this person can now, thank fuck, never become a teacher, because now he has, as long as it sticks, has fucking grooming young children on his fucking record, which means he'll be a liability to fucking children, to be able to look after children in general. So luckily, he will never become a teacher.
But is his teacher going to argue when he tries to be a teacher and he's denied that it's because the system is racist against him? Because it's not respected.
Because his background check won't let him fucking do it. If it sticks on his record, he won't be able to do it.
Oh, no, I agree with you, Common Sense. That's what it should. But I'm just going down the way we're currently going, which is if he went for a job as a teacher, if he trained and went for a teacher and said, sorry, you've got a conviction for, you know, sexually grooming girls under the age of 16, said, well, no, that's my culture, and if you don't let me have this job, you're racist. And they probably fucking would relent and say, oh, you're quite right, we can't do that, especially with the way fucking teachers unions are these days. The ones who want to get rid of the opt-out for parents to stop their kids going to mosques during their RE lessons.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Mosques. Why would the kids go to mosque?
Because they have to fucking be more incumbent. This is to do with Scottish law again. It's the fact that they're now in Scotland forcing children to go to mosques because we don't have British values anymore. We have.
Well, you don't make them go to the C of E, right?
No, you don't go to any other churches. You don't go to any other religious point. You have to go to a mosque to learn about their religion, so you're not scared of their religion, and so you don't become a bigot later on in life.
So I understand. So the Muzzies, they go to the C of E, so they're not afraid of our religion, and that's
well, at the moment, Mr. Ogre, the parents have the right to opt them out of going to the mosque, but the teachers union said that, oh no, this is just motivated by parents who are full of prejudice, so the opt-out should be taken away. Fucking the arrogance of these bastards is just unreal.
Before we close the story down, the last two paragraphs are actually pretty cool because finally they say something about the ones that matter here.
I like the second from last one because that one just proves the ineptitude of fucking everybody around the fucking children in general.
Yeah, they're the ones that bring it out.
That are supposed to be family members, police, social workers, teachers. It just proves the ineptness of the fucking people in general, and the fact that our children are left to fucking defend themselves against fucking ravenous wolves and fucking.
I can't understand how they were ever left alone. I mean, did dad not see daughter going and getting in the car or chatting up with this dude? I mean, if I saw that, man, I'm telling you.
I mean, in a nice way, these people are going to be groomers. Instead of coming and pick them outside the house, they're going to say, well, say that you're meeting Shelley around the corner and you're staying over at Shelley's house and get her to tell her mum that you're coming over so you can read, and then we'll go out and we'll drive around the corner. So they're groomers. They're not just literally going to be coming to the door and saying it's okay. They're trying to prove a point to the fucking children that they're in charge.
I'm also curious about, because it mentions that she, said she confessed to her dad what was going on. It doesn't say how long it took before the old man, actually reported it for anything to ever be done. I wonder if he got taken in and charged with being racist first.
Oh man, I hope not. Yeah, well, let me blast through this. It says, speaking outside the court, Sheila Taylor, chief executive of the National Anti-Child Exploitation Network, NWG, said, quote, the fact that this young person has watched this film, identified herself as a victim, and then resulting in people coming forward in a prosecution is amazing, end quote. So it is so great that this person did it. And then Detective Inspector Simon Caton of the Staffordshire Police said, quote, the reason we have seen this successful outcome is down to the bravery of the girls in this case and coming forward and having the courage to tell somebody about the terrible ordeal that they've gone through. End quote. Yeah. Thank you. And thanks to these two people Sheila, Mrs. Taylor, and Detective Inspector Catton, I believe is how you say that, Catton, because somebody needs to speak for the victims. They did take a godless long time to mention them, they took a extremely horrifically painful long time to, it seems like, to exonerate these men, starting with the judge. I really say, boys, if we look back here where Judge Gosling, well, I have nothing good to say, but I can't believe what this man said. Right here, the judge, Jonathan Gosling, said that the case was nothing like Rochdale. I'm not sure what that is. And that the men were not predatory.
It's another rape gang. It's one of the first ones to come out. It's Rochdale.
So it's exactly like it is what he should have said. They're not predatory pedophiles, but schoolboys. I wonder now, gentlemen, what if the names up here were Adam Talbot and Jonathan Fletcher and Thomas, O'Malley, and Bill Jones? Would he say the same thing there?
Before you go into that premise, friend, and I do understand where you're going, but we all accept, at least most people in the fucking psychology field or anybody that does any sort of studies on the brains, that we know that between the ages of 13 and 15 is when you actually start experiencing and finding out if you are going to be a paedophile or not, or if you're going to be that type of way inclined. It's not a case that at the age of 18 or the age of 40 that you just fucking switch a switch and decide, oh, I'm going to be a paedophile today. It doesn't work. So when people go, oh, they weren't acting as a paedophile, what they were doing was they were expressing their points of trying to get, the lust out of their body. Okay, then, so I'm 18. I'm going to go rape a fucking 13-year-old and tell her that I love her. Does that mean I'm going to get fucking let off for it? No. I'm going to get fucking done for fucking everything. That doesn't mean that I fucking feel angry about that. No, I'm angry that they fucking get the other people let off. Because they should be fucking treated exactly the same way. Because a fucking crime was committed. Even if you don't even believe that it was fucking grooming, you still have fucking statutory fucking rape in this country.
Wow.
Sorry, guys. I don't. Anybody listening on fucking headphones and things like that, I get a little bit annoyed.
Your voice fine. It sounded great. Don't worry about it. I mean, it's because there's so many different frustrating things about this. I'm used to seeing, like you said before, about, well, if it was somebody that got nicked with a dime bag of heroin, or they got busted at a party with some lines of coke on the table, or got caught, with an ounce of weed coming back from their man's house to have their monthly, whatever it was. And then we could see kind of feeling bad for them. But I'm used to seeing the law in these cases being like, this filthy scumbag deserves to go to prison for the rest of his life for carrying a teener of cocaine. This vile, swill human being should die, be drawn and quarter. But in lieu of that, and that's it. But here in this case, where I feel like that's what should be being said, that's not what we're hearing. We're hearing, oh, these nice, poor Tayyib and Mohammed and Shaheem, and Sohal.
And don't forget Ratman. Ratsu. Fuck me, I can't remember his name.
Rat Yell.
I think Rat is good enough, isn't it?
Rat. Yeah. I mean, it's hard.
You make fucking excellent point. It's just a case of fucking. It doesn't matter what these people do, and I say these people because I'm generalizing, but it doesn't matter what these people do in criminality wise, whether it would be raping children or fucking forming prostitutions or whatever. It doesn't fucking seem to stop them. All that they get is 4 to 5 years for fucking raping children. I thought fucking people get fucking more than that for rape.
Yeah, 15 to 20, man. For that.
Don't forget, you've got 155 days knocked off as well.
I think some of the 2011 rioters got longer than that, didn't they? I think the worst one got about 11 years in prison.
Yeah.
Look, because I don't believe in an eye for an eye, I don't like what they do here to pedophiles and rapists in this country. And what that is in this state, you go to a place called Jackson State Prison. Look it up, boys. It's a beautiful place to visit. In fact, there was a while ago when they were cracking down on crime. They thought it was hilarious that as you're driving into Jackson State, Michigan, there was a big sign and it says, "Welcome to Jackson, Michigan. Over 10,000 rooms waiting for you." And I tell you, it's one of the hardest prisons in the United States. And what they do is they cast you down with the sodomites. To
Ooh.
quote Stephen King from the. So you raped a girl. That's terrible. You are a filthy pig. But do I think that they should throw you down with the fucking white supremacists? That as soon as your fucking ass hits that block, man, you're gonna get rode so hard you'll be able to drive a train out of your asshole. When you sit down to take a shit, you won't even fart. You go like this, and it's over. You don't even feel a shit anymore. And that ain't like they do it once and that's it. They pass that some bitch around like a fucking $2 whore in Tijuana. It's over. And I don't agree with that. I just don't. I rape. I don't even know if slowly killing somebody, like strangling somebody while you look at them and like strangle them. I'm not sure that is worse than rape, because at the end, we could argue that the human being that was strangled to death. I mean, there's lots of arguments about what could happen, but the big ones are they don't know anything. It's just over. Nothing. There's no to fear about sleep and being gone. It's just they're gone. The curtain's drawn. The play is over. The jig is up. The race has been run. The lights are going down. Time to go home.
Well, that's why in
rape,
a lot of
magic powers, that's it. But rape, that seems worse to me. That is the worst fucking.
In a lot of war scenarios, don't they? Be it civil or international, rape is very often used as a weapon of war, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely, man.
Because it is considered one of the worst things you can do to another human being.
Yes. Well,
just to quickly go on Ogre's point, I don't agree with Ogre on that point whatsoever. Sorry, just you're raping children. I'm going to make sure I give you to the sodomites. I'm going to make sure that you actually fucking get convicted for 15 to 20 years and stay.
Here's the issue with that, though, common sense. What if someone was? Do you think is it possible that out of 1,000 people that are convicted of that maybe one of them is innocent?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying in these cases, not in every case.
Well, but see, because there's no lever, and everyone that goes, if you go, the guards fuck these people up, man. I know a couple people that were in prison in this state. One guy actually killed himself not more than a year ago in the county jail, in the county that's just north of me by about 4 miles. Cut his own bloody throat in the shower. No shit. But in fact, he's the one that told me that the screwheads, the guards, whatever you call them, the screws, they tell the pedophiles, anybody that's in there for raping a female, or because that's usually what it is, or a child, they tell them, well, tell these people that you're a paper hanger, that you wrote bad checks. And you don't really go to prison for 15 years for writing bad checks. And if you did, you were on the news. Everybody would have known it. You know what I mean? If you end up getting 15 years for hanging bad paper, you were a pretty big perp, man. You were on the nightly news in the state. So they know that's not you. And they know you're a pedophile. So, and the guards turn their back to it, and in some cases, I believe, encourage it.
Well, let me answer your question then.
Yeah, sorry, man, but you got the right to feel that way too. I don't want to make it moral, all right?
No, I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered. That's the reason why I'm going to answer the question. If 1 out of 1,000, sorry, don't care. Not bothered. 10 out of 1,000, sorry, don't care. 100 out of 1,000, still don't care.
It can't be that many anyway. Now we're getting into fantasy land.
I'm just saying, I still wouldn't care.
Yeah, no, I get it. I understand. I mean, I ain't gonna iterate on it anymore. I've never been raped, but it's one thing that I wouldn't enjoy. I don't believe.
Well, that's how the people that actually do get raped can tell the other people that if you do this outside, you will get raped, and then they will fucking stop it.
Here's the thing, though. When they would hang people in Piccadilly Circle there in your home country for pickpocketing, there'd be pickpockets working the crowds watching the hanging. Those kind of deterrents just don't work, because you know what everybody tells themselves, boys. I'm not going to get caught. I'm going to be the one that's slick and that gets by with it.
You should know as well as anybody, my friend, that deterrents do work. And something that is a capital punishment, it does work. Crime was a lot less in those days. And yes, it is partially due to the fact that it wasn't written down as much. But crime was a lot less back then because of the fucking high deterrence. Am I saying that I want fucking capital punishment back? No. I'm not saying that fucking at all. But at the same time, if you get raped while you're in prison serving your time, I don't really give a shit. If you get stabbed in the prison by another prisoner while you're serving your time,
Oh,
I
they
don't really
usually
give a
don't
shit.
stab the bitches. They want to use them like that. But here's the thing. All I guess I can say is that since it is that way, it does keep a lot of other people that might find themselves in a bad position, that are in there for armed robbery or some shit like that, or trafficking drugs or some shit.
Yeah.
It does keep them, it does keep their buttholes intact. So in other words, Count Dankula will be able to come out a virgin because some dumb son of a bitch went and raped some little kid and ends up in the same cell as Count Dankula does. So when they want to butt fuck someone, be like, Dankula cracked a joke about Jews. This guy butt fucked a boy. Well, let's get this guy. Let's hold him down and fuck him. So Dak will be okay. Now he's on my mind too, man, because that's the thing about prison. The rough thing is about prison is when we make it really horrible for some people, well, other people go for other reasons. We don't have to, but in my mind, I think it's wise to make sure that the situation would never be worse than you'd want it for the person that's done the least thing in there. And I know that sounds crazy to everybody. I think the one time we could look at Sweden and see how to handle people, or see how to do things, something would be how they handle their inmates. I mean, their prisons are actually beautiful. You can't leave, but you got a normal bed. You can smoke cigarettes, play cards. They got regular dishes and silverware.
And that's the reason why people actually choose to be criminals rather than being homeless, as we've said before.
I'm sure some do, but but they do that here. Common sense.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm not saying they don't, my friend. That's what I'm just trying to reiterate. Some people will actually get rid of society because they're so used to people looking after them that they will just go to prison because they are so regulated in prisons, and they can deal with that because they know when their free meals are coming, they know when they're allowed to piss and shit, they know when they're allowed to go out.
Boy, I couldn't understand that myself. It's so true too. Some people get what they call it, institutionalized.
Yeah.
Where you just become an institutional person, and if they actually take you out of that situation, they could take you out of the situation, give you a new car, your license, make it legal, give you $1,000 a week spending money, and all your bills paid. And these people would there's no way they go rob a liquor store to get back in, whatever they had to do.
Exactly.
It's hard for me to grasp that. Well, anyway, I mean, I guess that was off, but I won't play devil's advocate. In your defense, hell, I hope they're going to a rough prison, these boys. It's probably going to be some mostly Muslim paradise for them where they teach the Quran and tell them they did the right thing. Who knows?
Of course.
Well, the very fact that they said they banned them from using, was it Snapchat?
Yep.
That means they are actually got access to mobile phones. So they are probably got access to things like, games consoles, the internet, and various other things they would have had on the outside anyway. So again, they're not really being punished, are they? They're not being forced to do hard labor or anything.
So they would have had cell phones. That just struck me when you said that, why are they talking about cutting Snapchat off? They're going to be so there's people in prison, proper prison in your country that have cell phones.
I don't think that they're allowed cell phones because that means interaction with the outside. I'm not 100% sure that they're allowed that. The same as
probably access to a computer and the internet.
They're not. No, they're not even allowed access to without being monitored. They're not even allowed that. Though then again, it depends on the category of prison. I don't imagine that them type of people would be in a category C or B prison. I imagine they would be in a category A.
Yeah, I figured they'd go to a place like I was talking about, like Jackson State Prison, where when you walk down the freaking gate the first time, I don't care who you are, man, you're shitting yourself.
Yep.
And people are literally rattling the cages, going, "Yeah, I'm gonna fuck you, boy." And I mean, Pete actually told me, I can't believe I just said his first name, and but anyway, I won't try to connect him much more. But this gentleman actually told me that when Mrs. Ogre was there when he's telling us this shit. Now he probably was putting on some machismo, but the guy is he was crazy. I'm telling you, he cut his own bloody throat in the shower. He said, man, when he heard all this yelling and was looking at all the crazies, man, rattling the cages, walking down the first time, he thought to himself, I finally made it. I'm in Jackson State Prison. I was like, damn, dude. You've lost your fucking mind, man. All I'd be thinking of is, holy shit, how can I not think about how many days I have to be here? What can I do to just let me read or do my work? What's the hardest fucking job in this place with the longest hours? I want that.
Yeah.
I want to work and then go to my cell and pass the fuck out.
That's probably the wing where you get your ass pounded.
I don't want that kind of work. Hey, man, I got it. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll close another one. I know a funny joke about that. I'll tell you one day, Magic Bollocks.
Well, lads, it's around about 10 past 11. We've roughly been on for 2 hours. I know we do have one more story left, but it's basically just to do with the border. The only thing that I'd say about that is the fact that in Northern Ireland, they're talking about having a customer a personless border. They do that in Denmark. They do that in Sweden. They do that in a couple of other places. The fact is that they could quite easily do it here. The technology would easily be able to do that. But most importantly, it's the EU's problem that the EU sort it. Does anybody else have a quick 2 pence on that type of story?
Yeah, it's from the Guardian, mate. I wouldn't even wipe my arse on that fucking paper, so it's irrelevant to me.
Fair enough.
Oh, man. I'll save it for my last blow.
No problem then. What we'll do is then we'll do it as we would normally do it. Low man on the totem pole. So Magic first, just about on the subs as well. Then then Ogre, then myself.
See, I told you if you waited long enough, common sense, all order will be restored. I must buy some more subs. Right. I'm going to say to everybody is that what a horrible world we seem to live in, eh? There's some terrible people out there doing terrible things. And the worst thing is they're all our establishment or our leaders. And they're not really leaders. They're just people who are trying to line their own pockets in whatever way they can. That's why they love things like the EU, because the EU cannot, the EU Commission can never be replaced. They're unelected bureaucrats to make all the rules, makes their lives easier. It means they can just carry on pocketing public cash without the fear of getting thrown out because they're inherently corrupt. I am personally a major supporter of getting rid of the House of Lords. Can't fucking stand them. They have no place in modern democracy. Inherited peers or people bribing their way in there. Get fucked. You're not representative of the people. Time you were gone. In terms of Brexit, I am a pessimist, but I still do hope that the EU fuck us over so much that we have no option but to have a hard Brexit, and we can all, in unison, all 70 or 80 million of us can stick one middle finger in the air to the rest of the fuckers and saying, haha, you lost. That's what I hope. Probably won't happen, but let's all keep an optimistic mind in this case. And to Dank, you'll never hear this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Gas the Jews. And to all in the chat, thank you very much for coming tonight. Very nice of you. Don't mean that. And to Common Sense, thanks for hosting. And to Mr. Ogre, pleasure as always. Good night, everybody.
Night, brother. I don't think you could say what you just did. It might be illegal, but we'll find out. We'll know when they're dragging you, kicking and screaming. I'm not sure if you'll go. Would you go with the smile on your face like Dank did?
Yes, I think I will. In fact, I'd even pull a moon.
All right. That's the same thing as it is here, right? You show them the old ass.
Yep.
Yeah. Proper moon is where you spread them a little bit. You give them the old shot of the old brown winker.
I'd rather see your face, though, to be fair, mate.
Yes. All right. Well, anyway, I don't have to derail as much, and I don't have a lot to say. I was, going to even end with the joke, but why? I'll tell you all this one later. It's pretty funny. But here's the deal: nationalism's good. Loving one's country is good. Liking people that look like you, living around you is good. Doesn't matter if you're black or, go through the whole list. It doesn't matter. It's good to be aware of your culture, where you're from, its norms and mores, but also the culture where you're at and the larger ones surrounding you, whatever that may be, and its ways and mores. Get to know them. Blend the two, do like they do in Louisville, Kentucky, where I'm from, and put spaghetti in your chili. Just be different, but be the same. I don't know how to make that happen. I think there's people here on the chat with us, and probably people out there on the panel and out there in the chat that are probably old enough to remember when that's just the way it was. But who knows why the the wedge is being driven and it's this great divide is being created. I don't really know. It's a bummer though. And when it starts to branch out to people raping our girls, man, our boys, raping our children, and then that's okay. And they're just, they're just rambunctious schoolboys. So shucks. Don't make a big deal about that. Old Asim Named, rat titty fucker over there. He's just a good old boy, and he wanted to be a teacher, man. God have mercy on him. Show him a little kindness. He just wants to fuck your 13-year-old daughter. I don't know, man. When it comes to that, when that's the point where we're at, where a judge would go down that road. Well, if you can vote that judge out, I suggest you go do it. I think it says Staffordshire, or it's in the thing. You can see it was up on screen. Get some bitch out of there. I ain't got much else to say, but be good to your friends, your family members. Be good to the youth around you. Be extra kind to them. Be nice to them, man. Buy them a present for no reason. Give them a $50 bill or something. And don't be fucking weird about it. Just give them the money. Tell them go have fun. Eat some popcorn. Go to the picture show. Get a bunch of them together. Go to the picture show. It's fun. Have fun. Be good to the kids. Let them be kids. Because you know what? Just like everything else I always mention whenever I wrap up, they're going to be gone too. Before you know it, they're just going to be another asshole adult grown up with no sense of adventure or wonder or mystery in life. Don't fuck that up. Not you folks, but don't let it be fucked up by people that want to make, cause them to do things that they're just not emotionally ready for. And that's it, people. Be good to who you know, because they're going to be gone.
Well, again, thank you very, very much, Ogre. Thank you very much again, Bollocks, for coming on the show again. I thought it was a half-decent show today. Yeah, we kind of segued into different bits and pieces. We kind of sidetracked our ways off to different things. But I thought most of it was quite relevant today. I'm not really going to say too much, to be honest. I feel most of it's already been said. I would like to be able to prove my theory rather than just having the correlation. I would actually like to see what the causation actually truly really is, but maybe I'll have to wait a couple of years for that until I actually get certified for something. But I would actually like to see if that's actually true. I mean, I can see correlations for it, and so can other people. So there must be at least a good form of hypothesis there. So I just need to be able to prove it. The only thing I would say is that with people like Gareth that I was talking to on Twitter, and even Ogre started talking to on Twitter, to the fact where Ogre actually sent a link out to the show so he could actually see what the show was about. I'm pretty sure that one of his friends turned up, if not him himself. His response for people that wanted to know, because he did respond after that, was the fact that he didn't like the intimacy. I don't know if he was being funny or if he didn't like the idea of talking face to face, so to speak, as good as this platform can do. So at least the offer was there, and it just proves to the fact that people don't actually want to back up their arguments. But hey, I'm sure it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Quite likely, as what Ogre always says, you're only going to be gone anyway. After all, we're made from dust, and we will forever be dust. Dust to dust, ashes to ashes. With that being said, I bid you farewell. I bid you adieu, and I'll see you all again real soon. Bye-bye for now.